Okay. Okay. So this is something that's really important. So I'm going to go into the training proper. So the first I want to share with you is before we even start taking photos, you first need to understand what is composition. So it is not your composition that you do your writing or whatever, but it is similar. It is similar because a composition in English is really writing a compo, correct? But in photography or even in videography, it is also what is contained within a picture or a video. So composition is basically how you arrange the things that you want to take and what is the important things that you want to have in your picture. Okay, so everything, its composition is about everything within your screen that you want to capture to showcase or to capture as a memory, whether it's somebody's wedding, somebody's birthday, or maybe a walk in a park, or scenery that you have taken, you know, something that's nice that you feel is good. So this is what we call a composition. And having a good photography will take many parts, okay, to combine them into one whole picture, just like an English composition, whereby you have your body, you have the introduction, you know, in a business plan, you have even your, you know, executive summary, whatever the case may be. It's how you make it holistic into one picture. And for someone who is an artist, right, this is where the composition comes into play, where it actually tries to tell a story. So every photo is always a story, it's always a memory, it's always a story, and what you want to articulate and portray out to the person that you're going to send the photo to, or possibly to social media. Okay, so having to understand that you need to know how to do placement and how do you arrange the elements and the things that you want to portray in your photo. Okay, so in social media, it is really important because, you know, we are bombarded by so many things on social media. Everybody's showing pictures, videos, etc., etc. But, you know, if you have a very good photo, then it makes makes the photo outstanding, that people will stop for the next 3 to 5 seconds to capture their attention and to basically either do a comment or an engagement. As you all know, this is really what we want to do. You know, when you have social media, you really want people to take notice of your life, of the things that you're doing, and for people to comment and give, you know, good comments, good feedback, and or whatsoever. So the first, before we start, let me just accept more people. So important thing is what we need to always prepare ourselves. Okay, so these are some of the basic tips. Number one, because, you know, when you're carrying your mobile phone, you're putting into your wallet, into your pocket, you're putting it on a table when you're eating, your lens will always be very oily. You know, you have dirt, you have dust, you have whatever the case may be. And it's always good that whenever you want to take a picture is to use possibly like your t-shirt or something to just, or something soft, not something hard, to clean the lens so that it doesn't have any smudge of oil or your fingerprint or maybe some of the sauce from your food, etc. So this is very important. Secondly, go to your menu and activate your 3x3 grid, because this is really, really important. 3x3 grid, let me show you. A lot of people don't turn on your 3x3 grid because simply they don't know how to use. So today, this is a skill that I want to share with you all, so that henceforth today, when you go out and take pictures, you are more informed of the things, the surrounding around you, so that when you take a composition of a photo, it looks nicer and it looks more pleasing. So for example, if you want to take something that's more stabilized, you can also get a tripod, and also a tripod with a remote shutter. Or some people, they have the, you know, the Apple iWatch and all this. You can actually take your photos from your watch as well. So these are some of the little gadgets which I think most of you already know. But of course, some people may not always bring it up. So remember to sometimes bring out your tripods and all this, especially when you're taking videography, you're taking photography, and you want a stable hand. Okay. The other thing is this: when you want to take a photo, so a lot of people always use one hand to take, and then you realize that you always get blurry pictures. So if you see the top right picture, when you take a photo, you want to use both hands to hold it so that you stabilize your hand, so that when you take a picture, the picture doesn't come out blurry. The important thing is that sometimes you want to take a certain picture, and if it's a moving or someone is talking, sometimes you realize that you got to keep taking a lot of pictures, but sometimes you want that good moment, that good picture that could only be that split second, but because of your moving hand, your shaky hands, ending up that you don't get a good picture. So that to me is very important. All right, remember always to hold both on the left and the right and hold it stable. And for some of you who don't know, if you are a gadget person, there are some phones out there with an internal built stabilizer, you know, so that your video or your pictures will not get blurred so easily. Okay. So next, always when you're taking a picture, click on the person or on the object that you want to have focus on, so that the camera will lock and take focus. At the same time, sometimes certain pictures you want to have it focus on other areas. This is where your focus is very important. A lot of people also don't know that beside your focus, you can actually swipe your hand upwards or downwards to increase your brightness or lower your brightness. So this sometimes you want pictures that are overexposed or underexposed. Okay, never mind, I've already muted. Okay, so this is very important. So depending on the kind of pictures that you want, so this is what you can do to basically take nicer pictures, or pictures that you, in your mind, when you take this particular photo, how you want it to project. Okay, so you can sometimes really people love overexposed or underexposed pictures to give a certain feel. Another important thing is that a lot of phones nowadays have this thing called the HDR. HDR stands for high dynamic range. So what does high dynamic range do is that it actually helps you to give you the perfect exposure. So for example, now if you see the picture on the left, okay, you see on the very left is an underexposed picture, on the very right is a little bit overexposed. So what you really want to do is that when you have the HDR, you basically have something that is automatically, when the phone automatically sends the particular, sorry, I'm getting a lot of entries. So, okay, so I'm just getting entries. So anyway, what happens is that this high dynamic range helps you to basically gives you the perfect exposure, okay? So another thing that you want to take note would be this, okay? It is called the aspect ratio. So a lot of times, we don't know how to set aspect ratio. So aspect ratio, if it's on the phone, you can actually do a preset on this, so that you will always have the ratio that you want. So how do you know the ratio that you want? So it's very simple. Depending on the kind of social media platform that you want to use, then you apply the aspect ratio accordingly. So for example, if you see 16:9 is a full landscape, right? If you are a person who uses a lot of Instagram, okay, most of the pictures on Instagram are generally square, okay, generally, but of course there are some you can do what we call a 3:4 as well, or 4:5. Okay, so generically, most of the pictures on Instagram is a 1:1, which is a square. So there are instances where people also use 4:5. So it really depends on what you like. But if you ask me, for someone, I've done my research and I felt, for me, a person who uses more Facebook and also Instagram, I would use 4:5. Or for some of the Samsung users, I know there's also a 3:4. It's actually the same. So you can use a 3:4 or 4:5. Okay. Any questions so far on aspect ratio? So sometimes why I would say it is important to set your aspect ratio right is really, sometimes if let's say you go by a 9:16, for example, And then when you start to post on the Instagram feed, you will realize that you will sometimes realize that, how come like my shoulders get cut off, or certain parts of the video or the picture get cut off? It's because of the aspect ratio setting on your camera. So it is very important that you always get the correct settings that you want on the phone, so that whenever you take pictures, it can apply to the social media platform that you are most comfortable with. Okay, any questions so far? If you have questions, you all can put it in the chat so I can just help you to reply accordingly. So as I said, let's try to make today's training as interactive as possible. Okay, everyone seems to be very quiet. I'm a bit scared. Okay, so next. So today I'm going to cover with you, I believe those people who are into photography will already know all these techniques. Okay, so for people who don't really know all these techniques, then this is a very good basic fundamental of how to take photography photos basically. Okay, so these are the lessons that I will cover today. Okay, so number one, rule of third. So rule of third is really very simple. That's why just now I asked you to open up your 3x3 grid. So using the 3x3 grid, you can either place a particular person or object or subject at the intersection or along the line. Okay, so if you look at the photos on the left, the top left is this is where people's focus is. So the highest focus generally is on the top left, the intersection point. Okay, and then of course you have the bottom and all that and so forth. So this is really just how people will react when they start looking in a photo or at a photo. Okay, so what we usually do is we'll try to put the person's eyes or the person's face on the intersection point. So sometimes if you want a whole top to bottom person picture, you can be putting them on the left line or on the right line. Or for example, you can putting them in either the horizontal or the vertical line as well. So bear in mind that, okay, the frame also covers 1/3 and 2/3. So you have the top 1/3 and then the middle and the last 3 of 3. Okay, so how does it look like? Basically, you look at the photos here. If you're looking using the 3x3 grid, you see the top left, you see the horse where the top left intersection point covers the horse's eye, and then also on the top right, it's also the back of the horse. At the same time, what you also realize is that 2 of these subjects are also at the top horizontal line of in this picture. Okay, if you look at the one at the bottom, it's the same thing. Okay, where this couple is kissing, and then the intersection point is where we place the object, the person at. Okay, same for the B. This one of the pictures that I really love very much, whereby this is a micro shot, and they took a picture like this, and they use the rule of thirds. Okay, so let me just see the picture. Okay, next. This is another few examples of very, very nice pictures that is using the rule of third. So one other thing about the rule of third, when they talk about 1/3, 2/3, right, is basically, if you look at the bottom left picture, it is about this person who is in the middle. But what is this picture about? 1/3 and 2/3 is that 1/3 of it is actually the grass patch or the land, and 2/3 is actually the sky. The picture on the right is the same thing, where 1/3 of the picture is actually the sea level, and then 2/3 of it is actually the sky. So this is how you can do placement of rule of thirds as well. So this is also a very powerful tool that we utilize as well. So I'll show more in detail a bit later. Yeah, so this is really interesting. Next, look at this picture. This picture is so, I love it so much. It's so beautiful. It really brings out this. But what is this picture focused on is this. Look at this. So you see, they just placed, although the person is very small, but you see, when you look at this picture, you're not looking at just the picture as a whole, but you're looking at the photographer there taking a picture. So this is what we're talking about in terms of each person's look when they look at a picture. Okay. The next idea is really what we call fill the frame. So fill the frame is where you fill most of the frame or of the subject into the frame, where you basically, your background is very non-distracting, meaning to say the main focus is the person or the object that you're taking, okay? So when you have background that is too complicated, right, people's focus will not be on the person, but on the background. So it's important that when we take pictures, you need to understand what is the focus that you want the person to see. So for example, is this, filling the frame, okay? So the main idea is the eyes, the pair of eyes, or the flowers, okay? You fill it mostly on this so that you basically see the flower, or for example, the bird. And the bird, you fill the frame with a non-distracting background, plus they apply the rule of third. So one other things that you want to take note when you're taking photography, right? It is not one technique only. You can be using multiple techniques in one composition. So if you look at the bottom right of the bird, you will see that the eyes in the eyes of the bird is at the intersection of the top right of the rule of thirds. Okay, so this is, to me, is important that you need to take note. So this is basically how people's eyes and focus will be. Okay, this is another very beautiful picture whereby it's a very non-distracting background. But this is what we call frame within the frame. Okay, so frame within the frame, you see, is basically using a frame. So the frame can be anything that you want it to be. So your frame can be taking a shape of a chair, the moon, the clouds, the trees, the doors, whatever, and this really brings out the essence of the object or the subject that you want to portray. The other thing about the top left picture is also another concept apart from within the frame. Is called leading lines, which I'll cover a bit later. All right, so just take note, look at the picture, leading lines. So the main focus is the person sitting down. So if you see, these are the other pictures that I've taken, okay, that is called fill the frame. See, like my wife in the picture, and I use the ring light to portray, or another photo of us within the video as a backdrop. So these are very beautiful pictures as well. Okay, these are other pictures. You see the focus is that it's on the lady who is running. So using natural things is over there to take the picture as well. Okay, so these are very, very interesting ideas how you want to take a nice picture. So taking a nice picture is not just standing down there, just snap, 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 snap. Sometimes you when you have creativity, you bring out the essence of your surrounding as well. Okay. Next is what we call leading lines. So leading lines, basically you have the horizontal and vertical lines. So generically, horizontal lines are really more on nature or landscape, whereas vertical lines is really more about street photography. It's just to communicate more of power of hierarchy. And then you have diagonal lines as well, which actually portrays movement as well as converging lines. So I'll explain a little bit more if some of you may not understand. So you see in these pictures, right, within the picture you will see lines. So lines can be any type of lines that is showing you, that leads your eyes from one point all the way to the subject that you want to portray. Whether is it a castle, a mansion, or is it a lady who's in the middle. So you see the lines at the sides are all pointing to her. Or if you are trying to take a picture where you want to showcase of a cyclist, that is the moving movement of the cyclist. So these are the way a picture can be taken. Okay. Other movements on the picture on the left is about this boy running. So the leading lines are the lines at the walls, that portray that there's movement skills as well. So one other thing I like about the picture on the right is using the tracks and all the natural stuff that's around the corner. To main focus is on the person who is in orange. This is where the leading lines are leading your eyes from one point to another point. So it's really, really very interesting if you start to learn how to use such techniques for your photography. This another picture, of the lady sitting down there, where you know, from the bench, you look at the whole bench and you look at the lady, or the movement of the cyclist, another one. Next is what we call the rule of odds. So we always talk about the rule of odds, especially it is more for not human, but really more for objects. So for example, like a flower, you can talk about 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So if you realize these 3 pictures, if you see the 2 flowers, right, somehow it just looks a little bit odd. You just don't know how to say it, but it just feels odd. Versus you see the one that is the one flower, or the 3 flower, it looks more pleasing to the eyes. So you see, when the pictures are more pleasing to the eyes, right, people will start to stop and take more notice of. Okay, so this is rule of thirds. So these are some pictures of rule of thirds where they use the magic number 3. A lot of them like to use the number 3. 3 in photography is always the magic number. Okay, so these are some examples of the power 3 or the magic 3. Next, symmetry. Symmetry photos are also very attractive and very pleasing to the eyes because the human nature of people, of humans, mindset is really things must be in symmetry or asymmetry. If they are a bit out of the picture, they sometimes feel uncomfortable. Sometimes even like one of the things that I think someone did share with me was very interesting. When I was buying a watch, especially ladies love symmetry. When you see a face and then you see a date on the right, some people don't like the date on the right. So okay, so some watches, right, they have a lump on the right hand side where they show the date. But if you look at it from a face point of view, right, you realize that it looks weird because on the right you will see this thing that's popping out and then you see a date, versus someone who has a watch who has no date but it looks symmetrical. So there are people who are like that. Okay, so some people love photos that are balanced. Okay, so like for example, these are some very interesting pictures where number 1, the top left picture, you know, we have learned leading lines as well, where the road of the lines are leading towards the person lying on the floor, and then you have the left and right that looks pretty much symmetrical. Okay, the top right, you see this fly with the eyes is in the middle. It looks symmetrical, but yet it is also another one called filling the frame, right? The bottom right picture of this bridge, you know, leading lines that lead to the person at the end of this bridge. At the same time, it is also symmetrical left and right. Okay, and then the bottom left is another picture that is also like leading lines, whereby although it is like a mirror image, but yet it is symmetrical. So these are pictures that makes it very, very interesting and appealing. So yes, Chris, some people like things that are symmetrical. So yes. Some people just doesn't. Okay, so these are also pictures that are in symmetry that are very, very interesting, and some people like it, that is appealing. Okay, so some of the pictures I really, really love. I think it's really very interesting. So the top left of the orange and the 2 pineapple is also what we call patterns or breaking the pattern. So this is something I'll cover a bit later. So this is another interesting thought. Okay, so it's also symmetrical. So like I mentioned to you, sometimes a picture can have multiple things into one picture to make it very pleasing to the eyes. The most important is to be pleasing the eyes. You know, there are sometimes people who take picture and like, somehow it just feels weird. I don't know why, but it just feels not nice. Yeah, the background looks nice, or the picture may not bring out the certain essence, but okay, yeah. So sometimes it's like that because when you're looking at a picture, it's really about a person's mind. Okay, so just now I was covering with you, right, patterns and repetition. So patterns and repetition is just like this photo where the patterns is the blue color balls, and breaking the pattern is about this lady who is out of the blue just there. So your main focus will be on this lady. So patterns or repetition is really just objects or any shapes that can be anywhere, okay, and it's just all the same pattern. Okay, people love patterns as well. For the ladies who are locked in today, you see like LV, right? Your monogram, you know, all the things are like in piece, you know, these are also considered patterns as well, right? for those who love LV, you know. So these are also patterns. You see, even the water droplets on the leaf are also patterns. You know, the doors, you know, the different colors, but they're all the same designs, they are patterns. You know, the lines on staircase and all these are patterns, and the one on the bottom left is patterns. You know, and then it also has leading lines as well. So you see, even on the right, patterns and as well as leading lines. So it can be a mixture of different things. Okay. Now, breaking the pattern. See, I love this picture whereby everything of people is in red and just one very unique person that is in green color, breaking the pattern. So once you learn pattern, you learn breaking patterns. Okay, so sometimes you need, okay, in photography, the beauty of photography is like that. Once you learn the basic technique that I've taught you today, then you know how to break the pattern. It's always like that. Like, it's just like when you learn the rules, then you learn how to break the rules. If you don't know the rules, you don't know how to break the rules. So it's like that. So breaking the pattern is the same thing where you capture the interruption of the flow of a pattern. Okay. Give me a minute. Let me just mute. I think there's somebody. Admin, can you help me to mute? Thank you. Okay. Next, these are just new patterns and breaking the pattern. This is breaking the patterns whereby, you know, you have the floor and then the flower out of nowhere, you know, of a cleaner of this lady, this place, using leading lines to show the depth and the circular of this tunnel, and that this lady is there to break the pattern. Now, next is called the center dominant eye. Have you realized why? You see, when you, even artists, right, when they draw, people who take videography, people who take photography, all these techniques can be applied. I'm sure you all know this picture in the middle of this particular lady, right? So what is center dominant eye is placing the person, the subject's eyes on the middle of the picture. This is really so that you realize that this picture, why is this particular picture, right, so amazing? It is really because, right, you realize that the picture or this person's eye will keep looking at you. So this is very, very amazing. This is another picture of this famous artist and them using the center dominant eye. Okay, this picture, look at, you see, the moment you see this picture, right, you don't see what she's wearing, you don't see her hair, but your focus is on the eyes, and you realize like wherever you move on, you see the eyes also like looking at you. This picture is also, and this picture also incorporates filling the frame, you see, and center dominant eye, and it makes this picture. This is also an award-winning picture, by the way. You may look at this, right? This is an award-winning picture for in terms of photography. This as well, see, center dominant eye. At the same time, same thing, filling the frame, and you realize that those pictures behind has always a very non-distracting background. I'm sure you all know this guy. You see, even the person who takes the shot also uses center dominant eye. Okay. So these are all the techniques that I've taught you. So I really, really hope that you have kind of understand how to apply some of these techniques and how it has really helped you. Okay. So some recommendations, this is a bonus for you guys. Okay, some of my recommendations when you're talking about editing your picture. Sometimes your pictures may come out a little bit underexposed, overexposed, or you want to remove certain things. I would recommend using Snapseed. Okay, Snapseed is one particular software that I really, really love in terms of adjusting the photos. You can adjust the warmness, you can the sharpness, and you can, you know, blur the back of the picture. You can do healing, you can do a lot of things, you can make it black and white, etc. There's so many things you can do, and you can make the picture even more beautiful. One other thing I love about Snapseed is that it's very, very easy to use, and they actually have a lot of tutorials inside that helps you to make your picture a lot more appealing. So if you're someone who really loves to edit pictures, Snapseed is what I really, really recommend. The other software that I would recommend would be the Adobe Lightroom, but this is really more for amateurs to professionals. And what I love about Lightroom is that Lightroom also has a camera built in as well, whereby they actually, you see, our cameras only have the 3x3 grid. But if you are looking for some software that gives you the center dominant eye, the Adobe Lightroom actually allows you to choose a 3x3 grid and the center line. So this is depending on individual preference. I personally use Snapseed a lot. Okay, so I want to share with you. So now I'm really finished basically my training. But what I really want you guys to help me today now is that I'm going to show you some of my personal shots. And every picture that I show you, maybe I would like you all to type it up on the chat, right? What kind of techniques they are, okay? So first is the left picture. This left picture, right? I tell you, when I posted this on Facebook, I had so many people telling me how beautiful it looks. And a lot of people thought it is downloaded from the internet. So can you tell me what technique is the left picture? Frame within frame? Yeah. Okay. So this is frame within frame. The right picture. What about the right picture? So the right picture is, yes, it can be symmetry. At the same time, it can also be leading lights. Okay, if you see in this picture, the tracks and the side of the railings, right? Leading lines. So it can be leading lines as well. Okay. Next, bear in mind these pictures are taken by me. I mean, it is really something that while I have been talking about this and learning on my own, I apply it as well, so that I see whether it really makes sense and it really is good or not. So this, anyone? Anyone? Not sure? Half thing, not really half lah. It is actually, if you see the water line, 1/3 and 2/3 is the rule of thirds. At the same time, it's also leading lines, because you see the line from left to right. This is more for nature. If you remember, leading lines is not I covered, right? It is more for nature. So you see, nature has a lot of all this land and all this, right? So this is also leading lines as well. Okay, if you see the line between the water and the land. At the same time, if you actually see carefully, from the watermark onwards is 1/3 of the screen, and the trees are like 2/3. What about this? I'm sure most of you know this, right? So these are pictures that you can make it very interesting instead of just going all out and taking the whole outlook. This is called, I'm sure you all know, frame within frame, right? Okay. Come. These two pictures, they're the same. So what are they? What is this? Anyone? No one? Yes, leading lines. So basically, you see these pictures, right, is where you want to show a picture that people are walking, is showing a movement. So this is leading lines, okay? So this is something interesting where I took a picture of these, whereby I show 1/3, 2/3, but yet I mentioned to you in the very beginning is where I want the focus to be. So it is also fill the frame, but I didn't really make it fully fill the frame, but I also made it in such a way that the focus is on the sky. So this is pictures that you can play around with, as well as playing with focus, okay? So you see, actually you look at this, right, naturally you will look at what is inside the chain, which is that drainage thing, but you know, sometimes it's playing around with what you want the focus to be, okay? Sorry, this, you see, this is also fill the frame, whereby I use the leaves to take a picture of the people inside this. On the right hand side, it is using the rule of third, whereby I put this lady's head on the top left of the intersection point, but yet I also use and play around with focus, where my focus is on the tree trunk and not on the lady, and that's why you see a blurred picture of the person. So it is deliberate, because that's why I say it really depends on what do you want the picture to be, and what are you trying to tell. Okay. Next, more leading lines, which shows a staircase. This was a picture that I took with our directors, and this was in a restaurant, and I took this picture when it was feeling when I took this picture, whereby they were all inside this glass window. This is the next picture, whereby I wanted to show 2/3 of the sea and 1/3 is 1/3 of more of the sky. Okay, so these are pictures as well. So this is another picture that I think about a couple of months back, where I was at East Coast, whereby I took a picture like this of a sunset, whereby I put the sunset on the right, like horizontal line, where I put the sun there, and then I wanted to have 2/3 of the sky and 1/3 of the sea and the land. So this is one picture that I like it quite a lot as well. So this is about playing around with your camera and how you want the composition of the picture to be, where the focus was on the sky using the rule of thirds. At the same time, to also depict that I wanted to show more of the sky, 2/3 of the sky and 1/3 of the sea and the land. All right. Another picture, rule of thirds, where I put my wife on the left. At the same time, her head is on the top intersection point, and then I blurred the background so that this shows a picture of what I wanted to show. Next is another picture that I took. This was at Kallang River, where I utilized using half of Symmetry, whereby it has the reflection of the building top and bottom. Okay, and then it also has a little bit of having the pictures in the middle, so it shows a bit of symmetry. Yeah, I really love this picture a lot, and I would tell you, even this picture, when I took it and I put it on social media, there were a lot of people who commented. So you realize that sometimes you really need to do quality pictures that makes conversations interesting, and at the same time, people would look at it again and watch and basically comment, oh, nice picture, etc. And that's where you start conversation. So sometimes when you take nice pictures like this, worthy pictures, at the same time it is an interesting picture. Can someone I got a mute May. Just give me a minute. Okay. Okay, next. This is another picture that I took while I was on my hiking trip. Okay, which is like it's in a way like Symmetry, but yet it shows a little bit of the other part of the leaf where it was used to be, right? But it's something very interesting that I saw on and it's a very nice picture. I love it. Okay, and within the frame, of us in the hiking. So these are the other pictures that I used the rule of thirds, where I took my wife and I took the person on the right, Joanne, where I put her head on the intersection point. At the same time, if you see the picture carefully, 1/3 is the sky, 2/3 is the sea and the sand. So this is what we do with pictures, and how you want to beautify it. It may be a very simple picture, but you can beautify it if you know how to play around with the composition. Okay, so these are some shots that I've taken just to share with you guys, of food that you can also find equipment and all this that you can take nice food photos, with backgrounds, etc. You can just buy, and they're not expensive, and you can beautify. You can even buy a piece of paper. All these are background papers that we buy so that you can basically put pictures and all this, make it nice, basically. Cutleries, nice cutleries, nice plates and all this, like plating like that, so you basically may take nice pictures like this, and then you put it up on social media. There will be a lot of people, you realize, that will really comment on your food and all this. Okay, so these are some pictures that I've taken. So these are some other pictures that I've taken using Snapseed, whereby in Snapseed you can also write words and beautify the picture as well, so that you can put motivational speech, you can put what is this about, etc. And this really can attract more people as well. Okay, so these are some of the pictures that I've taken, and I've used software. Okay, even like this, you see. Yeah, so I indicated, what dish is this? Can I take a simple picture? I can even do a hashtag, and I post it online. So for people who have their own page, for example, that you want people to follow, you can use Snapseed. You can do things like this, or you could be doing exercise or certain activities, and then you can do hashtags as well. Okay. So these are some other pictures. Sorry, this one got a bit cut off, but basically, you know what I mean, right? You can put certain text at the bottom as well. Okay. You can even if let's say you want this picture to be a little bit more blurred, you can also do it using Snapseed. Okay, so this is like our homemade curry, and then we design it a little bit. So this was when we started to eat healthy and be a bit more health conscious. And these are the pictures that we have taken to make the food more interesting than just a plate, and then you just take a picture. That's about it, So it makes it more interesting as well. So these are some pictures that I've also, we have done. I did it a little bit black and white, and then I can put some interesting words that you want to portray, So this is another one that I did, and then I can put whatever you want to put in terms of, what kind of a meeting is this, and you beautify the picture so that people will comment about it. Okay, so this is really all I have for you guys. I don't know, maybe you guys want to share a little bit more, if there are any questions pertaining to photography or anything, feel free to open up and share with me. Anyone? No? Everyone's so quiet? I understand today is a public holiday, so I know that you guys are in today to, and you're tired and all this. So yes, if there's really no questions at all, let me see, the time is now 9:47. So we are about 45 minutes into the training, and we are done. So if not, then I will call it a night. Oh yes, Chris, maybe what you can do is that sorry. So, Chris, you could be going for your hiking trips when the MCO opens, and then you can be, taking nice photos. And then when you start to take nice photos, you post it on social media, and then this is where maybe we can build a community. So these are some ideas that I can share with you, how I build my community and how I build people to talk to me as well. I do have a lot of people who previously shared with me when I do personal branding with photography. It really helped me a lot in building my own branding. Okay, whether is it, I do weekly hikings, people start to know, oh, you are healthy, or I want to join you, or how do you cook and eat nice simple food, etc. So this to me is very interesting.
Can I suggest something?
Yes.
Actually, maybe we can arrange one day, then we go and take picture of green color. So anything that is green. So we can incorporate this into it. And then we can do like a collage,
Yes.
Very nice, color of all the greens, So it will be very, and then we can organize another day is orange. then we can incorporate Revive into it. Then we can
Hey, that's interesting.
have one day that is purple, so we can meet at a place and then we just go around and find things that is purple color lah or orange color depending on the day's theme. And then after that, we incorporate our product into it. I think it will be very interesting. And then you share the collage, it will be very beautiful.
Yes, you are absolutely right. I think it's really very nice and interesting as well. Okay, I think it's really, really a very good idea. So another small little tip that I want to share with you guys.
Oh yeah, Garden by the Base is very good. A lot of colors.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, a lot of colors. Yeah. So I think it's a very good idea where we, when you just post the product like very boring, right? So if you have other things that incorporate into it, it's very good feel. Yeah. So okay. So I suggest leader piece or organize that I follow.
Really or not?
I just follow. Okay.
Okay. So another software that I really want to share with you guys. Previously, this particular software is called Quick. Now I think it's called GoPro Quick. And I think this is a very, very good software that incorporates pictures and videos. And that's where I really think that what Chris said is really very true, because sometimes when you when you have very nice pictures, and then after that you can also take some videos, and then after that what happens is when you do all these things, right, sometimes it's very boring to also just always put pictures up or maybe certain videos up. So when you can make your Facebook or your Instagram a little bit more interesting, right, then it becomes very fun and it makes it very exciting as well. So let me just see if I can, give me a minute, let me just find, let me just find one particular video that I did that was using this particular software, and I think some of you will like it. Let me just find. Give me a minute. Any questions so far while I'm searching for the video, and then you guys can basically share or some ideas or something that I can help. Okay. I already found it. Okay, I've already downloaded it. Yes, previously it's called Quick, but now they changed it to GoPro. So this is one particular video that I did that was my weekly hiking trip that makes pictures and videos more interesting.
I never made it.
And let me just try one more time just in case I did share. And it has music as well. So they have preloaded music and a template. And you can do a video like this in 3 to 5 minutes.
I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me. Yeah, wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another reason to breathe this air. And now we made for ourselves. This won't be the last time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky like wanna see you more than this. And every time you're lost.
So what do you think of that video? Okay, so I must first say that some of the pictures that I took, you find it the size a bit weird, was that somehow my camera was set to a wrong setting. That's why some of the this particular video, the pictures, if you see, is a little bit, the shape is a little bit weird because the setting was somehow the settings on the phone basically ran like, remember I told you just now on the aspect ratio, so somehow the aspect ratio went a bit bonkers, and that's where my pictures was a bit weird. But I guess you guys have an idea now using even this particular software. You see, you can put motivational stuff inside that makes it exciting. You have a little bit of a video and a little bit of a picture, and you post it out on social media. People were like, wow, you are damn professional. And this only took me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most, if I were to incorporate and find words to put in. And voila, you know, it is interesting. I have a lot of other videos as well, which I've done it on this before. And that's really what makes it exciting and make it fun. So this is how you can make it exciting, basically. Make your social media more lively as well. Any questions? Laura? Sorry, let me mute her for a little bit. But so I guess you guys have a little bit of an idea. Yes, Quick. Yes, it's a very good software. I will share app link with us. Can. I will share it on our respective chats lah. Huh? So if there's no other questions, and so I will. Yes, iPhone and Android. I think it should be the same. Yes, okay. So if not, then I will end today's training if you guys have no more questions. So this is some of the software that I use, and I hope you guys try it as well. All right. Thank you so much, and I wish you guys a happy Hari Raya, whatever's left of it. That few 2 more hours, and then it's soon gonna be a weekend. All right. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. You know, we have truly an amazing leader who's so giving and sharing for all his knowledge. Thank you so very, very much. All of us, let's start practicing our photography skills. And yes, I totally love Christine's idea. Let's do this team thing. You know, we take better pictures so that we have more captive attention in social media. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. So I will send out the app that you all can download. All right, for this GoPro Quick, QUIK. All right. Thank you and good night.